Hello! It is officially fall, which is so exciting. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my fall TBR. This is mainly just like every spooky book that's on my TBR because I really want to just read a ton of horror this month. Well, not this month, this season. So let's just get into it. First, we got like a couple classics. The first of which is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Ooh, I butchered that, I think. Let's get past it. This is the original vampire story. That's all I really know about it. I know that it like follows a female vampire. I know that people have said this is sapphic, which is exciting. And I know that it is edited by Carmen Maria Machado, who's one of my favorite authors. So I'm super excited by that. I've been wanting to read this ever since I first heard about it, because how could I not want to read the first ever vampire novel? Like, come on. I'm excited. That's all I have to say about this one. And then, of course, because I haven't read this book, I had to put Dracula on the list. I know nothing about Dracula. I watched the movie with Winona Ryder in it, and I had a great time. But I know nothing that happens in here other than there's a vampire. I don't know how accurate the movie was. I just know that I want to read this. And my dad has read this when he was like younger, and he said he really enjoyed it, which says a lot because he does not read classics. So that's a high recommendation. And then the last little classic we have on the list is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book I also really don't know anything about. I know that it was like the first sci-fi book. I know that it's like supposed to be really good. One of my close friends said that it's his favorite book. So I have to take that as a recommendation. And I have this beautiful edition. I will never not love the Penguin cloth-bound editions. They are my heart and joy. Let's pretend that made sense. My heart and joy? What was I saying? And now we'll get into more contemporary fiction. And again, I think every single one of these is a horror novel or something close. I think I have one gothic in here. But let's just get started. First we have Lapvona by Tisha Moshfegh. This is like, it takes place in a medieval town and it's about a class struggle, but it's also supposed to be horror. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. I haven't had such great luck with Natasha Moshfegh, to be honest. Her books are very hit or miss for me. But this one just sounds so up my street that I can't not pick it up. And another gorgeous cover. Like, come on. Love it. There are some really good covers in this pile, I won't lie. Next is a new acquisition, and that is The Grip of It, a novel by Jack Dumock. This book also has a nice cover, but I feel like I can never get the camera to show you. There's like these happy, well, it's not happy. There's these like sad faces on the cover. I'm just trying to get the light to catch it, but I don't think it's working at all. You'll just have to trust me that they're there. Oh, you can see them a tiny little bit right there, but not really. So this novel, all I know about it is that it follows like a haunted house or something's happening with the house. It says that when they're first touring their home, they're stopped by a noise, deep and vibrating like throat singing. That's just the house settling. The real estate agent assures them with a smile. He is wrong. It goes on to say that the framework, claustrophobic, riddled with hidden rooms within rooms, becomes unrecognizable, decaying before their eyes. Stains are animated on the wall, contracting, expanding, and map themselves onto Julie's body in the form of painful, grisly bruises. I picked this up because I've been really interested in like a personified, like creepy house story ever since I read House of Leaves. And I just loved the cover. I love the vibes. I think I'm gonna really like this one. And I've never heard anyone talk about this book. I just found this book while I was like browsing at Barnes & Noble, which makes me even more excited to read it, because what if I found like a hidden gem, you know? Next we've got Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. Okay, so I only have a rough idea what this is about. I know that it follows like a father and son right after the mother died, and they're going to like their mother's ancestral home in order to like kind of connect with her side of the family. But when they get there, they realize it's like taken over by a cult, or is like a family called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in search of immortality. I don't know. I've heard such good things about this author. I've heard really good things about her short stories, but I've heard great things about this book as well. It's a little chunky, but I think I'm brave enough to do it. I don't know, I'm really excited about this. Next is one I don't know much about. This is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I think this is like about a teenage girl that finds herself in like a slasher film. Not a film, but like it's a slasher book, and she just finds herself like in that reality. I've heard really great things about this book and author, but I've never had a chance to read any of his work. And I'm just excited about it. I think it'll be fun. Then we have O Caledonia. This book necessarily isn't like horror, but I've heard that it's supposed to be like a gothic tale. This book begins when the body of a 16-year-old girl is found in her Scottish Highlands home. But it's not like a whodunit, it's more so about her life and like what led up to that point. I bought this at Barnes & Noble as well. This is another one that I've heard nothing about. I've never seen recommended anywhere. But it was on the Gothic literature shelf at Barnes & Noble, which means I had to buy it. I had to. And it's got a nice little cover too. This next one isn't a horror. So this is definitely the only one that's like not on the theme of the video, but still one I want to read. And that is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This is a thriller. I don't read many thrillers, to be honest. But I feel like the fall is the time to try them. And this is the only thriller on my list. And I don't know anything about it, but I know that it like won the Goodreads Choice Award. I hear people talking about this author all the time. I've heard very mixed reviews. Some people have like hated this, but others really love it. So I just want to read it and see where I'm at. I think that I have a greater chance of liking it because I haven't read many thrillers. I feel like thrillers, as you read more of them, they become more and more predictable. But this one, I'm going in blind. Next, we have our only YA book, and that is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This book interests me so much because Stephanie Perkins was known for her YA romance novels, and then all of a sudden she came out with like a horror slasher novel. And again, that's all I know about it. The back says that it follows this girl who came to live with her grandmother, and she's still adjusting to life in rural Nebraska, when all of a sudden, one by one, the students of her high school begin to die in a series of gruesome murders. I don't know. I just think this will be like a quick, fun read. Then we've got A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This book follows one of Dracula's brides? Is that how I understand it? Yes. Saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanta is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. I've heard really great things about this. I've heard that it's like written in like journal entries, which is a format I tend to really like. I've heard that's also sapphic, I think. Don't quote me on that, because I could be wrong. But if that is true, totally into it. Next is another one that I just bought knowing nothing about it at Barnes & Noble, and that is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This book is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and that's all I know. I know that T. Kingfisher is like a very beloved author. I don't know their gender, so I'm just gonna say they. But I've heard a lot of people talking about them, and I feel like they've written in a lot of different genres, so that makes me like really interested to pick this one up and see what their take on horror is. And I just like the cover. That's really what it comes down to. Next is our only nonfiction novel. Not novel because it's nonfiction, book. This is Member of the Family, My Story of Charles Manson, Life Inside His Cult, and the Darkness That Ended the 60s by Diane Lake and Deborah Herman. This is obviously like a nonfiction memoir about someone who was in the Manson, like someone who was a Manson girl. I picked this up at a true crime museum, and the other book I picked up there I loved. So have really high hopes for this one as well. It just sounds really interesting to me. Like, I'm not really a true crime kind of person. I don't like the genre that much, but this kind of shit with like cults like really draws me in for some reason. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna love this. Okay, the remaining 3 books I don't know much about, so I'm just gonna give you a little gist of what I understand them to be about. The first of which is Star of Acre by Andrew Michael Hurley. All I know about this book and all I want to know is that it's folk horror. I saw this on like a TikTok recommendation list of folk horror books, and folk horror just sounds interesting to me as like a subgenre, and so I wanted to pick it up. I lied. This book I actually know nothing about, and that is Mary by Nat Cassidy. I don't want to read the back. I want to go into this one blind. I've heard that this is like a really freaky book, and that's all I've heard. The little quote on the cover says, "A journey into horror." I can't speak. The little thing on the cover says, "A journey into horror, cult, and then estrangement of middle age." No idea what that means. Not at all. But I'm excited to read it. And the very last book on this little list is Venko by Sherry DeMoulin. All I know about this one is that it follows some witches. And like, I don't have any other witch books on this little list. I don't think so. No, I don't. So I need to cover that base in the fall, you know? Especially in October, I need a good spooky read. So this is going to be that for me. There we go. Let me know if you've read any of these books down below. Let me know which one I should start with. Let me know if any of them are terrible and I shouldn't read them. And let me know what's on your fall TBR down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!